a Burns & Allen poster, Red Cross lapel pins, a football flip book, a small ceramic piano, piano Christmas ornaments, a keyboard eraser, a keyboard tie. A piano pin that was given to me in 1979 by a guy with the band The Crazy Eights. I couldn't find it in the late 80s, but wore it to readings in the 90s. I misplaced it again in the late 90s, but wore it to Portland in 2009. I looked for it again last year, but I couldn't find it, though I'm sure it'll turn up again, maybe on the shelf with toy pianos or Magic 8 balls. Little Lulu napkins, a Statue of Liberty souvenir bell, a dial-a-letter typewriter from the 50s, a wooden nickel. Lurid detective magazines from the 40s. A dozen carousels of my dad's slides from when we were kids, Wildwood in the 60s, Holidays in Clifton, a slide of Mrs. Bukowski fanning out $100 she won playing bingo at St. Philip's, and slides that I took in high school, of arms I jigsawed out of masonite. They were 3 feet tall with elongated fingers, and I took slides of them coming out of the tide pools on the Jersey Shore. I planted them like refugees, not from here, they're from a there of myth and rumor, and they're drowning. Arcade tokens, fossils, shark teeth, a pterodactyl plain thing made by a 4th grader or one of my famous artist friends. An old Popeye bubble pipe, a Pluto puppet from the 40s, a puppet of Haas Cartwright, a salad bar toy set with tongs, a sneeze guard over the food, and take-out boxes. A tiny class for I don't know what. It's too tiny and lightweight to hold on to much, which is poignant in the way only tiny things and little toys can be. Fun and bright and easily breakable or lost. I look at this clasp and it joins a little kid to the finger of a grandparent before your dad wakes you up in the middle of the night. You've never seen him cry like that, and he hugs you while trying to talk to her. A tin Zeppelin, a wind-up guy carrying a suitcase, the Chinese cat that rolls over, a robot in a rowboat, a robot on a tricycle, a robot in a rocket, a robot being a robot, a wind-up egg-laying hen, a jumping horse, a wind-up frog, a toaster that rolls its eyes as it walks. Old board games, the Game of Life with Art Linkletter on the box, a classic chess set, games I bought in the 70s, Boom or Bust, and Scoop, where the object is to assemble a newspaper with a lead story, a sports story, features and ads, until you beat everyone else to press. Thumbs up to editorial rush to judgment. Dewey wins again. For about 2 years, the Impossibilists regularly got together to play board games I found at Goodwill, while we argued about art, which was often the same as agreeing about art, as we played Finance and Payday, 2 career-savvy favorites for poets. A wise old Al Bank, a Liberty Bell paperweight, a miniature brass diving helmet, toy soldiers, pirates, philosophers, saints, warriors, gymnasts, a 1940s cameraman. Advertising rulers, railroad ties, a pencil from the Museum of Natural History with tiny tumble stones in a detachable capsule where the eraser usually is. There are dozens of semi-precious stone chips, so it is a miniature collection just waiting for you to take it home, where it will lay eggs and produce a dozen new collections each year until, just like that, you have to shovel through things above the dirt just to get to the dirt. Baskets full of Happy Meal toys, Bazooka Joe comics from the 50s, a remote-controlled rat, pieces of rubber sushi, a large plaster Station of the Cross from the 1930s, rosary beads, little devotional statues, medallions, St. Christopher medals, a small holy water font for the home, desktop statues of St. Gabriel and St. Lucy with her eyes on a plate like hors d'oeuvres. Wooden marbles, candy cigarettes, cap guns, a Charlie Weaver bartender, winter carnival buttons. Mr. Telzall, a precursor to the Magic 8 ball. You rattle a die around in his big head with a turban, and the side of that die with his answer to your question appears in his mouth. A postage stamp dispensing machine like they have in drugstores. A hobo carved walking stick with Beetle Bailey characters that was given to me instead of a cover charge at the Earth Tavern. An oriental birdhouse, a chicken wing wearing a toy astronaut's head, a Malcolm X flicker ring. Cool-looking opium weights from Pier 1 back when it was called the Housewife's Head Shop, but they might be upstairs now with the good china for when we do opium over the holidays. Matchbox-sized funky mobiles that I got at KB's, which was a great store until they made it like the always crappy Toys R Us. A Where's Waldo guy that I asked visitors to find. He's wearing the piano pin from the Crazy Eights. A 1950s Hubley rubber hot rod, a Pillsbury Doughboy talking watch, a Chinese magic wallet. Paul Bunyan and Babe the Blue Ox salt and pepper shakers I got in Brainerd when Dawn and I went there in 1983. We saw Blue Thunder at an old movie house, then went to a German-Irish bar to discuss Roy Scheider. a neutron irradiated dime from the New York World's Fair, and I have seen the Future pin from the Futurama Pavilion, and a paperweight of the Trilon and Perisphere from the 1939 New York World's Fair that my dad went to as a teenager. An Indian Chief letter opener from a store that calls itself a museum in South Dakota. 1995 or so, I carried Elena through Rushmore Cave. I bought the letter opener because it reminded me of one I got when I was a kid at Bear Mountain, where Mutti and Fati took Bob and me for day trips. And I didn't need a letter opener, I was a kid. But because it looked like a knife I could use on Bob, I asked Mutti to get it for me, and she did. A Mr. Peanut mechanical pencil I bought at a Planter's Peanut store on the Atlantic City Boardwalk before the casinos, and a blue plastic Mr. Peanut pencil holder. A photo postcard of my dad with the Rodeo Rangers, a Jackie Cooper pencil box, Hess trucks, die-cast metal pencil sharpeners shaped like a stagecoach, a piano, a cash register, all pre-1975. Music Master harmonicas, and several hardcover copies of The Music Master from the early 1900s. The first one I got at the Junior Assistants League in the late 70s for 29 cents, which was and still is a half-ass price for a book. Every now and then I think I should read this book someday. A tin Bonanza cup from Virginia City, a jar of mucilage from my parents' house that's 60 years old and still liquid, a Mexican wrestling mask, magic calculator cards, a pile of first day of issue envelopes, boxes full of postcards, 13,000 comic books. Tanks, ice cream cones, trucks, beer trucks, buses, the wooden race car Hamill made, an ornate circus wagon from Baraboo, a display for cigarette lighters with pinups on them, a Kermit the Frog telephone, a Lincoln Memorial ashtray, matchboxes from Disneyland, Hotel Roses in Portland, the Golden Nugget, Binion's, the Bates Motel, and the Cliff House in San Francisco, matchbooks from places that no longer exist, Cutie Coptites from the 1950s, a Peter Pumpkin Eater tin, a wooden nickel. We're on lounge chairs in Puerto Vallarta, and because the drinks are watered down, we've already had 3 before noon. But it's vacation, no submarines in sight, just seniors doing aerobics in the pool, while Dawn reads a bestseller about sadness. And I read 3 pages of the Music Master book from the early 1900s before I doze into orbit around a plastic sphinx, Day of the Dead mariachi figurines, and a partridge in a pear tree.